The sales robots have taken over, and they're decimating deals left and right, destroying them right in their tracks. On the AI for Sales podcast, our mission is to empower everyday sellers to embrace AI superpowers to build new bridges and crush quota. Dr. Joel Abon said it best in the AI for Sales book. In sales, time kills deals. In AI for Sales, AI kills time. Join our hosts as we learn from the C-suite of the world's fastest growing companies about how you can leverage AI today to transform your sales revenue engine while being the best version of you.
Hey everybody, Chad Burmeister, and I am your co-host of the AI for Sales podcast. This year we've picked up a new co-host, and he's with me here today. And I'm so excited because Joe Papa wrote a book on business AI. And as you know, I wrote the book on AI for Sales. So we've joined together to really bring business AI to the marketplace. And Joe's going to be co-hosting a lot of the upcoming podcasts going forward. So Joe has been with TruVersity for the past year as the CEO, but he's also been doing AI for close to 25 years. So I'm really excited to have an expert with me. As you know, I've been on the business development side, and it's fun to have someone also who's on the training and education and the technology side. So Joe, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here.
Awesome. Chad, I'm so excited. We're finally doing this. We've been talking about this for a while, and we're finally making it happen.
It's been a few months, right? We met at an event in New Jersey at this huge building, and it just so happened we sat next to each other at lunch, and then Mike started handing out your books, and I was like, wow, this is exactly the person that I was meant to meet while I was there. So yeah, can't be more excited.
Awesome. And we should point out, I don't even know if you know this or not, but that building we were in, which is called Bell Works now. It used to be the Bell Labs building. And the transistor was actually invented there. Oh, geez, I don't know what year it was, 50s or so. But a lot of great technology came out of that building. I used to work there for about 5 years or so in research and development back in the end of the 90s. And they were doing some AI research back then.
Wow.
In that building. I found this out years later. I didn't even know this at the time. But on the same floor, on the second floor where I was, on the other side of the building, was Jan LeCun and his team. And if you don't know who Jan LeCun is, if you're listening out there, Jan LeCun, he's the head of all of AI at Meta, Facebook, right? One of the pioneers of artificial intelligence, machine learning. He invented with his team the foundational convolutional neural networks that kicked off everything for this space. So sometimes you just don't know the greatness you're working.
Wow. Yeah, I had no idea. I felt something special in the building. I remember standing in the middle of the atrium, just doing a 360 look around, and I knew it was Bell Labs early, but I did not know that one of the heads of Meta is there. That is phenomenal. Well, hey, so we can help our audience get to know who you are. I like to rewind the tape and go back to, 5, 6, 7, 10 years. Like when you were young, what was your passion? Because a lot of people, you learn who you are at a young age. So were you in New Jersey? Kind of what was happening in your life then that you think led you to what you're doing now?
Wow. Bringing me back there, Chad. Yeah, I'm born, raised, lived always in New Jersey, went to college at Rutgers for both my bachelor's and master's. I've always been here. To me, it's a wonderful place to live. I'm minutes away from the Jersey Shore, the beach, close to farmland where Bell Works out in Homedale there. That's all farmland. Close to New York City, where we're probably about an hour away. It's a wonderful place to be. But yeah, I mean, if I could think back, I don't know, maybe when I was like in 6th or 7th grade, VCRs and all this technology was starting to come out. And I was just like so interested in how it worked. I remember having like a Commodore 64 and programming it and like trying to like get into the code so I could win at poker, like trying to figure it out. It was just an exciting time growing up in the 80s with video games and everything, Nintendo coming out, the personal computer. This is even before the internet.
So did you program code and all that with, choose your own adventure line 0010, and then if you do this, you did those kinds of things as well?
Yeah. I remember in sixth grade, when I was in sixth grade, you had a choice. You could there was a part of the day where you could either go to chorus and like sing songs, or you could go to computer class. And out of the whole class, probably like, I don't know, 50 kids or whatever, there were only two of us that chose computers, me and my friend Ryan. So the whole class went to go sing in chorus. And it was awesome because it was just the two of us. We had all these computers to ourselves. We're playing Oregon Trail. Like, it was amazing.
That's so cool.
And it was just like I think sometimes we don't think about our roots. Like, I love the question.
Well, but just the fact when you said Commodore 64, figuring out how poker worked, most kids are sitting on the other side of the screen playing Oregon Trail or playing Frogger or Donkey Kong, etc. And you were looking at it from the other side. So that gives you an understanding of how Joe looks at the world, and now has been investing the last 20 to 25 years. And as AI has become more prevalent. So this next question really will help us understand kind of where your head's at. There's a lot of business problems that AI can solve. What do you see are some of the top, one or two problems in the world that you think, wow, AI is going to be able to solve this? I think of big things like cancer and, I have people in my family that have been through that. And I just have to believe that as AI can run through a lot of lines of code in seconds and minutes, I got to believe we're inches away. But what are you seeing out there as the biggest thing AI can potentially solve?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chad. Yeah, I mean, you think of the cure for cancer or help and treat cancer. I mean, that's a huge one. Unfortunately, my mother passed away. My aunt, who I was very close to, they both had lung cancer. And if you think that, if there was some sort of technology that would have detected it earlier or helped to treat it, like that would change things significantly. But I think for business owners, really the biggest opportunity is to get their time back. Like business owners and their employees, this is an opportunity to use AI to do things faster, to do things with lower cost, and to do things with better quality. And, I'm a big proponent of, you get your time back. Hey, if you're encouraging your employees to use AI, give them your time back. Give them a couple hours in the week that they could go and do something fun, like for themselves, spend time with their families, right? How much would they enjoy working for you if you're like, oh, wow, man, you cracked the code on this AI tool and now you took something that took you a day to do. Now it only takes you 15 minutes. Well, good for you. Let me reward you by, why don't you spend the rest of the day this week at the beach?
Encourage employees to find how to use AI to save their time and then give them a reward. I love it. There's a travel app. It used to be called Trip Actions. Now it's called Navan, Navan. I don't know how to say it. Navan, whatever. But they gamify your trips. So if I find a hotel and the corporate rate is $200 and I'm going to New York and there's a bunch of hotels for $800, okay, you're not allowed to do that. But if I found one for $100, then they'll give me $30 back out of the $100 in savings. So I think what you're talking about is very smart. If you're listening, you should think about, how do you build an app for this? It's like putting in the, suggestion box. And when they take your suggestion, okay, you've just earned an extra number of hours a week. Or maybe you can ultimately get up to a 4-day work week. I've been hearing a little bit more of that lately too. So that's pretty cool.
Right. How would people's lives change?
Yeah.
With a 4-hour work week? You got to spend a whole extra day with your family, your friends, doing things that you love to do. Man, you show me a company that gives me that, man, I'll work for them for life.
That's right. Well, so Dr. Joel Laban wrote the foreword of the book AI for Sales that I wrote in 2019. And in it, he says, In sales, time kills deals. In AI for sales, AI kills time. So, he called it back in 2019, and we're talking about it here. If you replace the word sales with business, in business, time kills business. In AI for business, AI kills time. So very, very cool. Tell me about how your company, you obviously help other companies implement AI and educate their employees on AI. How are you leveraging it inside of TruVersity? Are there certain things that you're writing code or posting on blogs, or, tell us about how you leverage it. Because I find a lot of times companies are great at telling other companies how to use it, and then they don't use it themselves.
Yeah, 100%, right? 100%. No, we practice what we preach. And, certainly we're an AI-centric organization. Just to begin with, that's one of our core values is we're always looking for ways not only to use AI, but to use technology in general to do things smarter. And that's all AI is just smarter tech. But we use it in everything. We use it in marketing. We use it in sales. We use it in operations and customer service. We use it in social media management. We use it in recruiting and hiring. And we're exploring other ways to use it in like legal and finance. But marketing is really the first place I tell people to look, especially social media marketing is, one of the tools we use is Jasper AI. And that helps us write a lot of our content for social media posts, blog articles, and to do a lot of copy for some of the things that we do, including ads. But the writing tools, the video creation tools, the social media chunking of things and repurposing content, all those tools are really low-hanging fruit, low cost, easy to use. And you train one of your staff members to become an AI specialist, and they just crush it.
Love it. I mean, somebody told me about Opus clips in the last 2 weeks. Have you heard of this one?
No.
You take your long form content that's hosted on YouTube, you copy the link in, and then you push go. And 10 minutes later, you have 6 clips that are ranked and gives you a score between 1 and 100. And it puts in the headline, it puts in the text, and then all you have to do is say share to Instagram. And they're about to add a few more integrations. But I had one where, I had this person that I interviewed on the podcast a year and a half ago. I said, let's just see how it does. And the exact clip that I thought that I would have chosen was the one that was exposed and ranked at a 99 out of a possible 100. Wow. It would have taken somebody 6 different pieces of software, manual. You put in a thumbs up, a clapping, a LOL. It does all of that with the click of a button. 5 hours free in my first month, and I can run as many clips as I want. I think it might be $35 a month after that, something like that, negligible. Wow.
That's amazing. It's like stuff like that, right? It's like, think of the time savings at such a low cost.
Yes.
The time savings.
And then one might argue the other side of the coin is, well, what about that whole team that you would have spent $5,000 on that? So talk to me about the elephant in the room, which is, well, could this negatively impact certain people's jobs? What are your thoughts on at the end of the day, will there be more or less work that comes out when we get to full maximum productivity around AI?
So I think, Chad, what you're going to see is a shift to a leadership mindset. And you go from people who are used to doing tasks to people who are now becoming managers of AI. So the leadership mindset becomes very important no matter what you're doing, right? And we use, there's a saying, you'll hear this a lot, is that you may not be replaced by AI, but you'll be replaced by somebody who knows how to use AI, right? It's the same concept. If you can think of it like AI being your team, and now instead of doing your job, you're managing the tools, you are having the strategy, you're having leadership to make sure things are going well. And when the human needs to be involved, you're that person, you're that human to step in and be the human when you need to be human. That's where I see the shift going in the worker space.
I love it. I love it. I love it because I've lived it for the last 5 years. And so I'll go in and I'll deploy AI in sales around LinkedIn, email, phone prospecting, all these different ways. And more recently, I've been a fractional CRO for a couple of different companies just in the last 3-4 weeks. Mm-hmm. And so if you can deploy the AI, it's better to have someone like me have the conversation to understand what the product market fit is so that you can pivot and then you can go hand it off to an entry level team. But it's better to have the highest level possible resource, a 95 to 100 instead of a 75, because you're diluting, it's just dilutive. You're not going to really understand the product market fit. So I think what you just said is so on point and people need to pay attention. So does your company exist without AI, or would you, what would you be doing if AI wasn't a thing right now?
We'd still be doing what we're doing. It'll just be a lot slower.
It'd be more system and process powered by different people in the machine than the machine itself, correct?
Exactly. We'd still be doing what we're doing. But yeah, AI makes it faster. We can roll things out faster. We can scale faster. We can reach more people faster. And that's the whole point. I mean, at our core, we're an education business. Right. And I even like to say we're not an education company, we're a transformation company. And we're transforming the way people think. And if it's just me, talking to one person, yeah, there's a level of transformation that we can reach there and a level of impact. But when you can scale that out and scale that effectively to where hundreds, thousands of people are transforming and they're helping each other, then the impact for the greater good has enormous potential.
How did TruVersity get its name?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's an interesting story. So we actually started the company. We were called TeachMe.ai. And this started about halfway through 2022. I was doing education for many years through Udemy and O'Reilly and that. So I really started my own company to be a platform for education. And then at the end of the year, we had the need to rebrand to scale at a whole new level. And I hired in 2 marketing gurus, geniuses, if you will. They were former chief marketing officers at other large startups. They had exited companies at $1 billion+. And we came in and we really they were awesome at getting in my head and getting the thoughts out of my head and the vision of where I wanted the company to be. And it was just a combination of the word Uversity and truth. And it was actually my wife's idea about truth. Is she just was like, "Hun, you're just like, it's about the truth. It's about getting to the core of who you are as an individual." And through that education experience, that's the ultimate goal for all of our students and all of our learners, is to really find your thing, your uniqueness in the world. AI is a vehicle, but AI will change through the years. Like AI, is hot right now, but 10, 20 years from now, it might be something else. Whatever that is, it's finding the core of truly who you are and where you should be in the world.
Oh, I love that. I wrote a book called Be Extraordinary, and I interviewed 100+ people on my podcast called Living a Better Story. So my other podcast, and I got to understand their truth, right? Tell me about a time when you were younger. Tell me about trauma in your life. Tell me about, what your faith have to do in your path. And so really the whole purpose of it is to expose and understand. That's why I opened this podcast with tell me about you, right? Because all the other stuff, it's a part of who we are, and it's an expression of who we are as a person. And AI helps us get that message out to the world in spades at scale. So that is so in line with everything that I'm all about. So that's really
so dude, that's awesome. I had no idea about this. Is it still? Are you still doing it?
I renamed it because there's another podcast called another company called Live a Better Story. And so they serve churches, and I didn't want to confuse the brand, and we complied with their message. So we renamed it to You Matter to Christ. So we've just started recording our podcast on that side too. So yeah.
Love it. Amazing
yeah.
stuff,
so tell us about the future, because my biggest concern about AI is the ethical component. So rewind the tape. A friend of ours family, his name is Larry Mueller, and he was an early guy at PeopleSoft and Ariba, right? He was the CEO of Ariba at one point. And so my dad still plays golf with him and goes on trips to Las Vegas and plays golf and other places. Well, he told me in a conversation once that his company invented the term CIO, right? They went out and created the term because they were the vendor, and they said, you know what? Companies need to have a chief information officer. So that didn't exist pre Larry Mueller and his team. I believe that we have an opportunity and an obligation now to invent the new CEO role that's called the chief ethics officer. Right. There's an AI czar, and I don't know if it would be the person I would have chosen for that particular role, but that's just me. I think someone should have super understanding of the ins and outs of AI, and we need to start thinking about that. So that's my challenge to you today is let's go find the CEO, let's co-create that. But what are your thoughts on ethics in AI? How do we get our arms around it? There's so much complexities. Who gets to play God in the role of deploying AI inside of companies and the world,
Yeah, that's a very interesting point and a very important point when we think about this for business. Unfortunately, ethics are not a priority in many companies, right? Profit is the lifeblood and being first to market. And I kind of, in a way, get that. But I believe that responsible companies, responsible AI is the area of interest. Responsible companies will look at the risks and ensure the risks that can harm people do not happen. That's what a responsible company will do. I mean, you can see now governments are starting to get more involved in this. I think one of the things that is not being done that needs to happen is educating people on what AI is. Because if you get somebody that goes on to like a chat GPT and starts talking to and thinking that thing is real, that's dangerous, right? Asking it for advice and it's getting bad advice, like that's dangerous. So people need to know this is not real. You're not talking to a person. You have to take it with a grain of salt. It makes mistakes. It has errors. But there's a lot of issues that come up. Authenticity is one. I was just talking to someone earlier today about the AI avatar that I'm creating. So I'm creating an AI version of myself to assist me in training. Well, what if that falls into the wrong hands, right? What if somebody can make an AI of the president that looks so real that people can't tell the difference? And now they got the president saying things that are going to cause mass panic or people to have all this fear. So there has to be a way for authenticity. And I think blockchain may come into play down the road with that in, verifying that AIs are not deep fakes. But ultimately now at this point in time, it's up to the company's leadership, the CEOs, the board of directors to make a decision and say, we're going to be responsible and ensure nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, great. I think of Zoom Info, Henry Schuck, I've known for years, and they collect data on people and they sell it. And so they made a conscious decision, not driven by the market, but driven by Henry himself to go out to people who are in the data set. Hey, you're in our data set. If you don't want to be in here, then you have the right to opt out. And those are the kinds of things I believe that the CEO needs to be involved in and taking the lead on. All right. So the last question before we wrap is around the future. And we've kind of hit the elephant in the room already. And it's around, will AI replace or augment sales professionals? And I think you said it so brilliantly before. Repeat that phrase, because you talked about the AI, I can't remember exactly how it was, but I think you nailed it.
Yeah, people often ask, will I be replaced by AI? And I like to say most people will not be replaced by AI, but you may be replaced by somebody who knows how to use AI.
Boom. That's the high five moment. So the moral of the story is, why don't you become the person that learns how to use AI so that you're not the person that's replaced by the person that uses AI? You're not going to be replaced by it. It's going to be run by a person. So why don't you be the person that knows how to use the AI and don't get cut out of the job that you're in? Just do it better and faster and lower cost, and take a day off.
Take a day off. That's it.
Amen.
That's it. Add more joy.
Well, Joe,
yeah, I mean, you look at the job market right now.
See some of the guests that you have on the show. I know you've got a few that are in the hopper. We just had our very first podcast of season 2 come out, and we've got the CMO of Clearbit, which is a big company leveraging a lot of AI right now. We have the Sandler representative, Mike, who also was on the show, and this is our third. So season 2, episode 3, and I can't wait to see the next ones that you're hosting for the AI for Sales podcast.
We're not even getting warmed up, Chad. We could do a whole episode on just ethics. I mean, a responsible AI. I mean, we're not even getting warmed up. I'm so excited about season 2. So excited to co-host this with you, and looking forward to hearing back from listeners and seeing what they want to hear and how they like season 2 of the podcast so far.
If you know someone who should be on, especially you just heard it on the ethics side, send them our way. We'd love to have a talk with them. Thanks everybody for joining another AI for Sales podcast. We'll catch you next time.
Hey, you made it this far in your AI for Sales journey. Want to augment your sales growth? First, leave us a review and then visit www.scalex.ai to claim your free strategy session today.